I've prepared some slides here, and I'm a little bit nervous because, yeah, like I said, I didn't prepare too much, and I got my second COVID vaccine yesterday. Um, and yeah, like most people that got their second vaccine of the type that I had, I'm a little bit under the weather. So I hope that everything goes well. But yeah, if you're not vaccinated yet, get yourself vaccinated. That's a good idea, I think. So I'm Freek. I'm a developer at a Belgian company called Spatie. I have a blog, freek.dev, where I talk about Laravel, PHP, JavaScript, web development related subjects. My company releases a lot of paid products, which you can see on our company website. We've also created Flare, which is an exception tracker for Laravel applications, but you can also use it for PHP or JavaScript applications. And I've also created an uptime monitoring service called Odir. And this one doesn't only monitor your homepage, but it will actually crawl your entire website and it will notify you when any of the pages of your site goes down. Now, before I head into the wonderful world of snapshots, I want to say a few words about our open source efforts. Nuno said that, yeah, I've created 1,000 packages. That is a big lie. Together with my team, I only created about 300, which is quite nice if you know that Spatie is only a team that consists of now 11 people. Most of these packages are PHP and Laravel. They've been downloaded now for 160 million times in total. And they are being downloaded 8 million times a month, which is quite amazing. Yeah, again, for a small team as ours. And I really hope that PEST will reach those numbers too one day. Those packages, they are not entirely free. There is a special license on them called postcardware, which means that if one of our packages makes it into your production or I'm going to make this up now, or your testing environment, you need to send us a postcard, and you'll find the address on our company website together with pictures of every postcard that we have gotten until now. And I'm missing, yeah, a lot of postcards. We only got a couple of, yeah, I think if I would estimate 200, 300, maybe a little bit more than that, but not 160 million. So I'm missing quite a few. Now, with that out of the way, let's talk a little bit about snapshot testing. And I'm going to assume that most of you haven't heard about this at all. So let's first theoretically say what it is, and I'll show you in practice in a few moments. So what is a snapshot? A snapshot, it sounds a little bit heavy, but it is just a file on disk, which we call a snapshot. And your test succeeds if the output of your test matches what is inside the snapshot. And if it does not match the content in the snapshot, then your test will fail. It's really simple, but you'll feel and see it in a few moments. Now, you might wonder where this came from. Did Spatie invent this? And we didn't invent this. This is a practice that has been here for nearly 30, 40 years. And the old name is characterization testing. This style of testing was popularized by Facebook. They included it in their tool called Chess that you probably all know. And they use it for testing interfaces. Because if you're testing an interface, you have like this big chunk of HTML, and you don't want to make assertions like how long is it, or is that piece of content there? No, you want to test like, is this piece of HTML exactly what I expect? How can we do this in PHP? Well, our company created two packages. The first one is the PHP unit snapshot assertions, where the core logic of snapshot assertions live. And Nuno helped us create the PEST plugin that brings the magic of snapshots to PEST. And it brings these wonderful moments, assert matches, snapshots, and a few others. We have JSON snapshots, XML snapshots, and nowadays I think 8 types of snapshots, but they all do kind of the same thing, and you just use JSON and XML if you want a little bit nicer output. If your test fails, then it performs like a JSON diff of what you're expecting and what you actually have. Okay, I've already talked a lot, but let's just show it to you. So I have here, I hopefully open in PHP Storm, a project called Shiki. It's something that our team has been working on the past week. And before heading into the test, let's maybe just show what this does. So I'm going to github.com spatie Shiki PHP, and let's take a few moments to see what this package does. And you can see that Shiki is a beautiful syntax highlighter powered by the same language engine that many code editors use. So it can highlight code. So how it works is you give it a piece of code, you say which language is this, you say which theme it is, and then it will highlight your code. Let's see a few examples of that. And I'm currently using Shiki on my own blog. And let's take a look. Here's that hello world thing, which is perfectly highlighted. Oh, and I should also say, how does that highlighting work? Let's go and inspect this. You can see that it applies some color classes onto the HTML. It adds a line there. And you see you don't need any CSS. Shiki will add those colors for you. And the amazing thing about Shiki compared to something like highlight.js is that Shiki works with modern syntax as well. So here this is a little bit of a meta example where we highlight the source code of our Shiki package. And you can see that we use some PHP 8 properties here, which are perfectly highlighted. Very nice. It can also highlight blade syntax very well, which is a thing that other highlighters can't, or in many cases not do properly. And of course, it can also highlight something like Vue. Here's like a good example of that, a little bit of a Vue old style code. And it can basically highlight hundreds of types of languages. And you can use any VS Code theme that you want in this parameter. If you're downloading a theme from, I think it's called VS Code. VS Code themes. Didn't I put the link here? Yeah. If you download one of the themes that are mentioned, then you can just add the path here and you'll use that theme. So it's a pretty powerful highlighter. Now, why did I pick this package to show off testing snapshots? It's because this package actually produces chunks of HTML, which we need to test if they are correct. So what are we going to do? And this is a little bit of an old style of test where we don't use snapshots at all. We have some piece of code that we want to highlight using Shiki. And then we want to expect that this HTML comes out. Now you might think, you could assert like maybe is there a pre-class with Shiki is that color, right? But you don't want to make all these assertions separately. You want to make an assertion on the full block of HTML. So that's why we need it here. But having this block of HTML here is, kind of, it makes your test kind of ugly, I think. And it's also a little bit unmaintainable because, it's a lot of HTML. And you basically don't want to have this in your code. Now let's convert this code to snapshot testing. And it's actually a pretty simple process. So we don't need this at all. The expected HTML can go away. We don't need this assertion. And we can use a function that is provided by the snapshot package. And if you take a look at PHP, at the composer.json file, then you can see that we already installed it. And it brings us a function called assert matches snapshot. And let's import it to make it a little bit more clean. And what we are going to do is we are going to pass the actual result in that. Now I deleted this line of code. I need this back. And no, I'm going to call this output or whatever, or maybe HTML or highlighted HTML, because that's what's in there. That's like a good name. And then we put it in a search matches snapshots. Okay, let's see and take a look what happens if we now run our test. So we are going to run our test, and you can see that we get a warning here. It can highlight PHP. And what does it say? Snapshot created for this test. Now let's go to our file system, and you can see that there's a new directory created here, snapshots. And all of your snapshots, they live in here. And here you can see that the file was created here using the name of the test. Let's take a look what's inside this. And you can see here that the output of the HTML lives in here. So this is pretty nice. I didn't have to add this to the test class itself. I just ran the test the first time and I got the output here. Now, the second time that I run this, then the test will pass, because what is being produced here, it actually matches what is inside the file. So our test is good. And I'm using one test here, but you can have as many tests as you like that use snapshots. They will all get their like unique named file in the snapshots directory. Now let's see what happens if something of your output changes. So let's maybe go to this function here and maybe add something new output, something like that, or maybe change, because this is our change. And let's just run that test again. And you can see that the test now fails, because what we return here doesn't match what is in the snapshot. You can see here that there's something changed here. Now, this makes tests a little bit brittle, because if you kind of expected that something had changed, then all of your snapshot tests will fail. And then you need to verify, like, is this like the new change that I want to put in my snapshots? And yeah, when something changes, you need to manually verify, is that change correctly? Now, let's assume that this change is actually correct. What you can do then is you could just remove the snapshot and run the test again, so that the first time the snapshot will be created. Or what you can also do is update the snapshots, which you can do with passing the flag D, which is unfortunately necessary to add a custom option to the command. And let's run this, update snapshots. And here you can see that for this test, the snapshot was now updated. If I take a look again at this snapshot, then you can see that the change was written in the snapshot. If I run this again without updating, then you see that the test passes. Let's go through the cycle one more time. So I'm going to remove that change because it wasn't really necessary. We are going to run PEST again. You can see that it failed. So, and I see here that change was removed, so that's good. So let's update the snapshots again. You can see that it was updated, and the next time I run it, and we get green here. So that's basically, yeah, all that you need to know about snapshot testing. Now for PEST, we also support the expectation API. So what you can also do is, instead of cert matching snapshots, you can do expect, then the output to match snapshot. Beautiful. Let's do this away. And you can see, if I run this again, that the test passes as well. So yeah, I've only used one test here, but if I just now this, and if I go to the main branch, then you see the actual test suite that we're using. And here you can see that we use a lot of snapshots. So we can just try some blade. We are going to highlight it. We're going to assert that it messages snapshots. And yeah, we can use all test cases here, and we don't need to put all of the HTML inside the test because the output of the HTML lives in those snapshots. And let me prove to you that it really works. If you run PEST, that it generates all of those snapshots again. So we have nothing in our snapshot directory again. Let's run PEST. Takes a little while because Shiki is not that fast. Snapshots were created, and the next time, then everything should match the snapshot. If I refresh this, yeah, then you can see that all of the files are here back again. So that is snapshot testing. I've used it now for HTML output, but where you can also use this for is for like API responses. If you have like if you're creating an API yourself and you want to exactly know, like, did I get this output? And you have like hundreds of fields that you need to validate. You could validate them all 100 separately, or you could just have like the output of your API and write it in a snapshot and use it that way to verify if everything is correctly. Okay, that is the demo. Let's go back to the slides here. So let's start wrapping a little bit up. So I want to specify the advantages and disadvantages of snapshot testing. So you're surely going to get it. So the advantages of snapshot is that it's very easy to get started with. You saw me, using this in less than a minute. It can be used to validate complex output like HTML or XML or API, JSON, every kind of big response. And it's easily to update all the tests in one go. Now, a disadvantage is that it's a little bit brittle, because if there is any small change in the output that maybe isn't related to what you're testing, then your test will fail and you need to verify the response. It can be hard to pinpoint the exact point of failure in big responses. And yeah, if you're a little bit uncareful, then you can even write bugs in snapshots by just rewriting and don't noticing that there is a bug in there. So it's a little bit of a pro and cons there. So if you want to start with snapshot testing, it's very easy. Just use one of our packages. And if you want to know more, a little bit of theory about snapshot testing, go over to the Jest Docs. There's an excellent chapter on snapshot testing in there. Now there is one more thing that I want to share with you, and you are the first that I'm sharing this with. We are going to share this a little bit more publicly next week, but you that are watching get the scoop here. We are preparing another premium video course with Spatie, and this video course will be called Testing Laravel. And it's basically the best course to get started with testing, because at the start of the course, we assume that you don't know anything about testing at all. So we are going to start from the basics. But we're not going to stay with the basics. After the basics, then we are going to show you how we test our apps at Spatie. So it's a little bit opinionated, but you see a lot of cool subjects like snapshots, which I just shared with you, how we test APIs, how we handle pragmatic mocks, and much more. We show you everything that we learned by programming our real-world applications. And now here's the big thing, I think. When you purchase Testing Laravel, you basically get 2 courses in one, because we are going to record the entire course 2 times. We are going to have a flavor PEST, and we are going to have a flavor PHP unit. And in the PEST flavor, we just start using PEST, and we imagine that PHP unit just doesn't exist. It's just you want to use PEST. Let's not talk about PHP unit, but just focus on PEST. And we also have PHP unit. And I think this is pretty good, because I think there are a lot of people that want to stick to PHP unit until a big player starts using PEST. But people that already are on the PEST train, they can use this. We have a page on our company website. Let me show it to you. It's something pretty simple. Spatie.be testing larval, where you can leave us your email so we can inform you about um, when this test course launches, and we also share a few updates. And here you can also see the plans that I've just said. We're already busy with creating this course. It's well underway, and we think we only need a month or so to finish this course. And it's a little bit my hope that this course can give PEST another little push so that more people start using PEST. Because if you take a look at the PEST PHP homepage, there's like a quote here somewhere, and I still stick by it. I wouldn't be surprised if PEST becomes the test default runner for PHP in the near future, and I still believe that. Okay, let's go to the slides one more time to finish off by saying thank you. If you want to be informed about the testing course, just subscribe on our website. Do take a look at our other products and courses as well. We also have a lot of open source. And yeah, if you want to stay informed about the things that I learn about web dev, read my blog, freek.dev. And that is basically all that I have for you today. Thanks for listening.